Mr. Speaker, today the Rules Committee met and reported a rule which would provide for the consideration of H.R. 5665, the Combating International Islamophobia Act, under a closed rule. It provides 1 hour of debate equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Foreign Affairs. It self-executes a manager's amendment from Chairman Meeks and provides for one motion to recommit. Mr. Speaker, we are here today at a time when anti-Muslim hatred has risen to epidemic proportions. That's not my opinion. That's according to the UN Special Rapporteur on Religious Freedom and Belief. Epidemic proportions. We see it all around the world. In China, as the government there commits atrocities against the Uyghurs. In Sri Lanka, where its president silences dissenting voices. In India, as government-led crackdowns leave entire neighborhoods virtually empty. In Hungary, where anti-Muslim sentiment continues to build. And unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, I could go on all around the globe. This isn't about the actions or misguided beliefs of a few. The UN Human Rights Council has found that an average of 37% of the population in Europe held unfavorable views of Muslims. We're talking about millions of people. A rising tide of hostility, violence, and discrimination that we, the government of the United States, must call out and condemn. To stand firmly and loudly for human rights demands nothing less. I'm also proud to announce today that we have reached a bipartisan, bicameral agreement on the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act that will allow us to move quickly to get this bill through Congress and to the President. Because this isn't a partisan issue. It's a human rights issue, and America must lead. And just as we hold other nations to account, Mr. Speaker, we must hold ourselves to account as well, because the United States is not immune to these trends. The Council on American Islamic Relations has documented over 500 complaints of anti-Muslim bias nationwide in just the first half of this year. That includes things like hate crimes, harassment, school bullying, and anti-mosque violence. Sadly, this uptick is part of a larger trend. A poll conducted by the AP and released this year ahead of the anniversary of 9/11 found that 53% of Americans have unfavorable views towards Islam. This is the reality of what is happening in America today. And to be honest, Mr. Speaker, we have even heard disturbing rhetoric from some right here in this institution. A member of this House has told a completely fabricated story again and again that implies a Muslim colleague is a terrorist just because they are Muslim. It may have rolled off her tongue like some kind of laugh line, but this is a deadly serious matter because it led to our colleague, Representative Omar, who has already been the victim of years of anti-Muslim bias, receiving even more heinous voicemails and even death threats. One man went so far as to tell her, and I quote, there's plenty that will love the opportunity to take you off the face of this blanking earth, end quote. Mr. Speaker, I hesitated to even quote that here on the floor, but we all must understand the gravity of what we are dealing with. To hear a member of this Congress say those things, is there no bottom anymore, Mr. Speaker? Have things sunk that low? 2 decades ago, it was a Republican president, George W. Bush, that told the world, quote, America treasures the relationship we have with our many Muslim friends, and we respect the vibrant faith of Islam, which inspires countless individuals to lead lives of honesty, integrity, and morality, end quote. Today, it is a Republican congressperson who made headlines for comments that disrespect not only Congresswoman Omar and fellow Muslim members, but is a stain on this entire institution. And virtually the entire Republican conference has said nothing. What on earth has the Republican Party become, Mr. Speaker? I think this House is better than the worst actions of a few here. And I think the government of the United States can still stand for human rights here and around the globe. And this rule and the underlying resolution is our chance to show it. So let's pass this measure so we can bring the full weight of our nation in encouraging other nations to also confront and condemn the growing stain of Islamophobia. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserved.